Hello everybody. Now we get to paint, and we are going to begin by creating the colors and painting the petals on the flower, and we're going to start with the center petal. And to create our colors, we have this bright red and then more of a maroon and this yellow orange, as opposed to using this yellow. So you can see the color of the petals, and so I'm going to show you what I did here. I started with the red over in this one, and it was this bright red that I put in first, and I did a flower using the bright red, and it was just too bright. So what I did is I added a little bit. It's mostly the bright red, but then I added a little bit of this more magenta color red, just to tone it down a little bit. And then this is what I have here. And then next door to that, I take the red and I added this yellow to create an orange. And then at the end, I have the yellow orange, and the yellow orange is really nice the way it is, but I did add a little bit of this orange over here, or want to, because I don't want it to be quite as sharp, strong. And I'm gonna actually create a little bit more of this. This is the one that I use the least of, this yellow. Actually, that's not true. I'm gonna use a lot of it. So I'm gonna create a little bit more here for you. And in truth, you could tweak these a little bit and have the colors be more, if you'd like them to be a little bit different, feel free to do that as well. But here we go. And I'm gonna add just a little bit of water here. Get as much as that paint off of that brush. Get just a little bit more of that orange over here, just to knock it down. So there are our three colors, and you're going to see that I've been doing some test ones over here, and I'd like to show you the process that we're going to use. So my large jar of water is for cleaning off my brush. I have a rag off to the side that I can clean off my brush. And what I'd like you to do is to get a scrap of the watercolor paper, and we're just going to draw that center petal. And we're going to take our perfectly clean water, and we're just going to fill this area with water. And we don't want a puddle. We want that water to kind of absorb, we want it to absorb into the paper and have that paper be wet, and the same degree of wetness all throughout that petal. So there's a little bit of yellow on my paintbrush, and I want that so that you can sort of see what I've done. Yours will probably be perfectly clear, which is really what you want, but I have this so that you can see it. Now I bring my head down to the side, and I look across, and I can see that I have a nice wet area, and I had a little bit of a puddle down at the tip, so I'm spreading that out. Now if you had a big puddle of water, you just dry off your brush, and you can put your brush right where that puddle is, and it'll sop up that water. Now, interesting, what I did just now is I sopped up the water, and so now I need to add just a little bit more. All right. So let's just practice doing one petal before we actually go to the drawing that we've done. So I'm going to take, what I've done here is I add red at the bottom. I can just dot it in right at the very tip and then bring it up. And really, watercolor is just sort of magic. It's not about painting and being really precise. It's about sort of playing and having fun. So I put the red in. I'm going to put some the orange in, just dotting it in. And then I'm going to take some of the yellow. And I like to leave a little bit of a white space. Now that's how I did that one. And as it dries, those colors are going to marry together. And you can see the examples that I've done here is that I have different petals. Some of them are, after they dried, you can see that this one dried much more saturated, and this one dried much more transparent, much more pastel. The color here is brighter and strong. Is one better than the other? No, it's whatever your preference is. Would you like to have a stronger mandala where the color's really, really bright? Then you want to have a little bit more saturation. Here, this one, I was a little less saturated with how much color I put on. So I'd like you to just play, like the more water I add, the more watercolory it will be. And if you, the door just opened and closed, that's my son, and dog just came in. So you can see how I added water. I even moved it around a little bit, and that's going to end up being a little bit more transparent. But again, if I like the more saturated, let it be stronger. Now what I encourage you to do is to do a sample. It's not going to take long for it to dry. Do a couple and decide, do I want it to be stronger or do I want it to be a little bit lighter? And come up with your basic strategy for how you're going to do these flowers.